Alright, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. So, yeah, today is just another normal day. Only thing I look forward to today is perhaps some cooked earth episodes today, because we did discover that trench. Besides that, though, can't really think of anything else. We are kind of sleepy today. I think it's because I woke up too early. Uh, I woke up 2 hours earlier than I'm supposed to, so I decided to go sleep because this time I woke up earlier than an hour, so therefore I could sleep again. So I went back to sleep for like 2 hours. I still feels pretty tired. Some That's crazy. When I put my weight on the machine, the stairs go at like one speed. All right, yeah, that's like the only interesting thing. It seems like even though we slept, right, when we woke up 2 hours earlier, we went back to sleep. It put our body into like a dream state. So when we wake up, we're actually tired. If that makes sense. Those people just faked something on the TV. There's no way that's real. This guy threw a frisbee off the dam, and there's no way that those dudes on the ground caught it. I refuse to believe it. What they did is that the boomerang got lost, and they had a spare one. So off camera, they threw it in the air a tiny bit and made the guys pretend to catch it. There's no way that that frisbee looked like it was going to go into the trees. There's no way it's real. There really is nothing to talk about. And plus, we're like half asleep. Well, no, we're not really half asleep, but we're pretty much just chilling. That's really weird. That's even more weird. Unless that's his sister. There has to be a sister. Okay, it's his sibling. I was gonna say for a second, their music videos are really suspicious, but they're siblings, so it's fine. Imagine if that was seriously just some random person. Gigi. Yeah, the missing context was the music video had this tall, lanky white dude with a red-haired girl who's literally like probably under like middle school. I don't know. Definitely not in high school yet. So definitely in that category. And then the guy's just dancing with her. But then as the music video progressed, it looks like they're just siblings. So I guess it's okay. Kind of suspicious at the beginning, but it's all good. Anyway, there's nothing really to talk about. Have been going dark for some minutes now. Just can't think of a topic. And the breathing hasn't even been a struggle either. The only struggle was literally just me not staying in the dream world, which I'm not, but I was close. It's strange, huh? When I woke up 2 hours, no, when I woke up 2 hours earlier, since it's been 2 hours early, not 1 hour, I went back to sleep. And then when I wake up again, that 2 hours of deep sleep probably messes up my mind because we used to something but no something. It is what it is. I would just try to sleep early again. But the thing is, we did sleep early yesterday, so that was just one of those days where it's like I woke up during no woke up on the rice. Wait, no. When I wake up, no, when I wake up, I remembered rice. Oh no, the dream road's here. The dream road's here. Ignore what I say. No, it's not. Never mind. go. Oh, whoops. I almost lost my balance there. Forgot that at 20 minutes the steam machine turns off. Almost lost my balance there. Matter of fact, that kind of woke me up in a good way. All I know is that on the Cooked Earth series, we will begin finding a spot location for the HQ. Alright, I'm awake now. So let's go 10 speed for the last 6 minutes. Should be pretty easy. Just focus on breathing. So 10 speed at 6 minutes. Should be pretty easy considering that we've done 10 speed at 10 minutes. Breathing heavy as usual. Yeah, we're awake now. Alright, let's check our heart rate. Heart rate is 164. 164. Cool, got it. Only annoying thing about doing this is the treadmill. No, here you go. Here's the stats though. Can you read it? 124, 328 floors. 124. Honestly, that went by pretty easily. Wasn't actually a struggle. It's because we've done 10 speed at 10 minutes before, so 6 minutes is, I guess, a piece of cake. I mean, sure, we're sweaty and everything, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at all. It was actually kind of chill. It woke us up a tiny bit at the end, but it's nothing too crazy. Anyways, we're wet, so we gotta change later after stretching. Alright, we're chilling. That was actually, I mean, it wasn't, it was just normal. Alright, I'm gonna go dark now. Alright, fresh t-shirt, not bad. Ah yes, fresh t-shirt actually is a lot better. Perhaps I'm tripping, but I'm pretty sure the gym music is a lot more quieter than usual. I don't think I thought the speaker was broken yesterday, but it seems like they just overall lowered the volume. Phone gonna fell down. Alright. Right, we gotta drink water, and we gotta add more weight, and we gotta dry up. Like, multiple things to do. I'll do the water first, and then dry up. Alright, water's done. Well, one water's done. Dried up a tiny bit. Should probably add some weight to this, but we have no time. Okay, well, yeah. So we've increased the weight a tiny bit this time. And yeah, today's just gonna be, well, today I have planned, we're just gonna be doing hip thrusts. So after this, we'll go back towards the goat machine. And then from there on, Nordic hamstrings, I believe. And then calves, and that should be about it. And of course, the day goes by as usual. Alpha 3 regime, then like meal 1, which is most likely just going to be muesli and milk. And then day 2, no, and then meal 2, no. And then we do editing, and then we do dips and pull ups, and then we do the final meal, which is the meat and veggies. And then we've got some cooked earth and some stories as well. I feel like I'm not going to continue that video from yesterday, the one about the phone calls, because there's not really any stories and it's based on real kind of scenarios. And I think I already talked about how if you put yourself in the priority list, you'll be fine. So, not sure if I'm going to continue that. Not interested in that kind of video. I'm more interested in the horror kind of, random short stories, not an actual case where it's already over. Alright, second water bottle. There's not much to talk about besides my plans for the Cooked Earth series. I need to find a location with metal, and I'm definitely going to overtake the Wyvern Trench. 100% going to overtake that spot. That's a goal. 100% going to make that goal. Okay, we're on, sorry, we're on 4-5s now. I feel like we already got strong legs from the stairs, just saying. Our legs are more built for stairs, not really built for heavy kind of squats. Oh no, well I mean my legs are built for like normal squats, but not like heavy squats. Plus we don't even squat anyways. I've only done weightless squats. I don't actually do barbell squats. It's been like months since I've done a barbell squat. No thanks. I guess that's just not part of my thing. If I ever do a barbell squat, I'm probably gonna fold. Anyway, the timestamps for the Cooked Earth videos are nice. It saves me the trouble from editing to a degree because it's nice and raw. I guess in the future, when more people talk, the streams will be a bit more interesting. That's okay, because I always just monologue myself anyways. It's pretty easy. Is that what it's called, monologue? Don't think there's any topics to talk about. But recently in our story videos, those videos give us topics to talk about. And like yesterday, we went on that entire. Yesterday, we talked about priority list on the police force the entire time. You know, but besides that, though, I don't see any. I don't see any other kind of things to talk about. We talked about ecosystem, but we already talked about that a long time ago. I completely forgot whether we read that manga thing, that Lovers War thing. It's pretty finished reading that. Nothing else to really say about it besides ecosystems again. Alright, towards the gluteus maximus we go. Just gotta wipe that thing. It seems like golden hour has peaked. I'm gonna leave the weights here, I'm not gonna bother putting it away. Reason is because the other one's empty. You see the other leg machine's empty, so I might as well leave this one here for any goats that want to straight away do a heavy thing. Another day, no, what is it? I don't know how long it's been since we did this. I think it's been 2 weeks since we've last done some hip thrusting action. Yep. Yeah, no, the drill for hip thrust, you actually do lightweight, not heavyweight. Unless you're trying to like really trying to hit an actual heavy person, but like lightweight. Because again, from my physics logic, right, or pressure logic, you're not actually hip thrusting their entire weight. You're only hip thrusting like a percentage of their weight because, support from their own legs. I forgot how goaded that is. No efficiency needed for that. So, water. I think it's still a banana actually. It's just lost in the sauce. Wait, what does that mean again? I remember meaning that. No, I remember hearing that once. People say lost in the sauce. I forgot what that means though. What sauce? Okay. My Gen Z knowledge is lacking. I forgot what that means. I can't remember. I think we used to use it on some guy. Someone was like, yeah, he's lost in the sauce. Or don't get lost in the sauce. I completely forgot that means, so I think it had to do something with degenerate or something, right? Like something like bro got lost in the source. What source though? Can't remember. It's a dead meme anyways. Or dead language, I reckon. Okay, we're hip thrusting 32 kgs right now. We're doing something wrong. Because I'm feeling it more on my abs than anything else. Yeah, sure, the glutes are feeling something, but it seems like the abs are taking a lot more damage. I just realized that this glute machine smells like a woman perfume. It's so strong here. Bro, why is this banana have to be so annoying? Hmm. I had to eat a banana off camera, unfortunately. It was peeling. No, the fibers were a bit messy, so I just ended up eating it at the bin. Yeah, we're feeling it more in my abs than the glutes, so I'm gonna have to see if I can focus the glutes real quick. Maybe it is using the abs. No, no, it was using the abs. Okay, I understand why. If I lower my back like this and then hip thrust, I'm using my abs. I'm using my abs a lot more. But if I ride up a bit, if I put my back higher up, it's using the glutes. Yeah. So if we put our back lower, we use the abs. When we move it higher, we use the glutes. Yeah, that's what's happening. Like when you're lower here, when you go upwards, oh wow, that feels weird. Without weight, like using your abs here. But if you ride up higher, then you're really just using the glutes. Huh. Doing this without the weight feels really light. The thumbnail's probably going to be the glutes again, the, the hip thrusting machine. For some reason, that gets the most people like to click on the video more. Don't know why. Actually, I do know why. It's pretty obvious. Today's temperature is not bad. Matter of fact, I can't wait to see how Earthlog's going to look during the winter. That's going to be tragic. Man, the cold sucks. Yeah, to a degree. But it's true though. Like winter actually sucks. I used to like it because I was a seal, but not anymore. You know what I mean? Because when you're a seal, you have a lot more blubber to keep you warm. But when you start shredding that blubber, you get cold really fast, and it's kind of annoying. No, well, we'll see how we go this year. But again, who knows? You never know because by the time winter comes, we might not even be here. We might be somewhere else. You never know. All right, so we're gonna obviously activate the glutes, so we got to ride higher like that. Oh, actually, if you bounce it up, you can actually make it bounce. Not bad. Still the goat. Can't believe they got this machine compared to the other one. This one's so much better. It's just, yeah, you can always bounce it as well. Like when you do the drive up. So what was I saying? Don't know. What I do know is that the glutes are definitely being used. Also, golden hour is like pretty good today as well. Under 5. Matter of fact, last year there were always these two women who would come over here to the glute zone during our leg days, but I haven't seen them in like months. I haven't seen them this year. And when I said women, they were like 40 plus. So it doesn't count as, when I say women shouldn't go to the gym at such an early time in the morning. It doesn't count if you're 40 plus because you're not really valuable, with you? I mean, no, you know what I mean, right? Plus, they were like giant. Oh, the glutes are hurting just by sitting here. All right, here we go. Last one. Let's see. Why don't we do this until failure? Let's do 20. No, let's do 32 kgs until failure. All right, sure. Till failure. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go till failure for the glutes, and then once the glutes are dead, we'll go till failure on the abs. Sound good? Sound good to me. All right. Let's see until failure. Okay, glutes are dead. Abs. Okay, that was a bit too much. Not bad. This cushion on the thing is really good. It's so much better than the flat one. Alright, we're still going to drink the water, but we've also got to do Nordic hip string. What is it? Nordic hamstrings. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Unless I've been naming it wrong the whole time. No, not unfortunately, but this time I've seen the videos. Y'all are not allowed to look behind me. You're not allowed to. I deny that camera angle for you guys, unfortunately. We need to finish the water as well and check the weight. Yeah, for the Mr. Nightmare thing, or for the video, the horror video, no, we're not gonna finish that 911 call thing. Not gonna finish it. Can't be. No, we're not. I've made a executive decision that we are not gonna continue that video. It's not worth it. I'm surprised the headphones stayed on. Okay, for this one we can apply efficiency. So we've ended up not talking about any topics. We've just ended up talking about the actual workout instead. How surprising. Water is complete, and you no longer have to be so low. Oh, yeah, we can check the weight, but we gotta wait until it's empty. Now that I think about it, today's golden hour is literally just the regulars. There's no different. I'm basically a regular at this point. Well, yeah, a regular that can adapt. I could always go to a different one, but there's really no reason for me to go to a different one yet. I mean, I could change the moment I see something that I don't like or something that causes a reaction. I'll have to start adapting and traveling to a different gym. But so far, nothing's really appeared right now, so it's fine. But yeah, we have it as a backup. If anything happens, then we could always just skedaddle to a different gym. Most likely, we'll be probably going towards the the more premium one. Yes, the drive is slightly longer, but perhaps I could take advantage of that and maybe stay there a bit longer and do some kind of other regime there, considering that it's always empty. Yeah, we could always adapt. find other places. Again, in the future, we won't even be going towards City Fitness. We'll probably be in like a whole different location. Apparently, Wellington has some City Fitnesses, or maybe I think Christchurch has some as well. But currently in Auckland, it's fine. I heard there's some in Auckland. I heard there's some in Christchurch. I heard there's some in Wellington. I've also heard some in Dunedin. So all of them are fine. We can always travel to any of them at any time. Anytime we can travel to those. And if we ever leave New Zealand, which we probably will, but we'll just end up going to a new spot. And who knows, maybe one day this might get a camera person, but I really don't see myself getting a camera person anymore, considering that the Tripod and Deep Blue have been so loyal. So loyal, no complaints, no food, no water. The really thing you only complain about is the storage, but that's fine because, yeah, Deep Blue doesn't complain, Tripod doesn't complain. You know, I could just abandon you if I really wanted. I could always get a new one as well. So, I don't really need a camera person right now. Deep Blue and the Tripod are fine. If I get a person to do these videos, what they're gonna do? Just stand there? Well, probably talk to me, but like, what am I gonna talk to you about? I guess you can get different camera angles, right? But I can do that already. Plus, I feel like if I do get a camera person, my speech will be slightly different. I won't be as extroverted to a degree. But then again, it's just no light without dark. It's always different. I guess we'll maybe just check our weight at the end of the day, or at the end of this instead, because it seems like the man hasn't left. Is there anything else to say? Not really. Not really. I feel like we should maybe listen to. Nah, I do like the true horror stories because they are the most relatable ones that you could talk about, you know? Don't really want to look into those 30-minute long crime things that have already happened. Because I don't know, to a degree, it sometimes feels like when it's an actual, when it's a anonymous, no, a nominous story, right? I can talk smack and like basically say you did this wrong, you did that wrong, but then like when they talk about like an actual case, it's like, well, the person's already dead, so they didn't make it. So you know what I mean? I could listen to like creepypastas, but those are like mainly fictional. I remember when I was younger, there was just like one story I listened to that was like doesn't make sense when I look at it now, but it was like something about like a person in an abandoned McDonald's, and there's like a mental hospital nearby, and like kidnapping and stuff. But I'm like, there's no way that's real. Could be, but who knows? You never know. Okay, one more, and then we can do the carbs. We'll go check the weight at basically the very end because yeah, it is what it is. One thing I do know about those stories is I hate those. Not hate, because hate's a strong word. There's nothing actually hate, but what is annoying is those videos that like say obvious. There's like an obvious anomaly error, right? But then they just skip to like, and then the next night, like, what did you do during that 20 hours? Or some of them are even more retarded. Be like, so the next day, the next night, or like 1 week later, it's like, well, what you do in that? Or like 2 days later, it's like, something happened to my house. Anyways, 2 days later, what you do in that 40 hours? Hello? Like they just skip so much context on what they did during the day. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's also just caring, because when people say it's all about care. Golden hour is actually literally less than 5. Perfect. That's strange. Recently, it's been a lot less than usual, which is not bad. I'm not complaining too much. Actually, don't mind it. Again, a lot of people during golden hour wake up and then go here, and then if we come early, if we come an hour earlier, those people actually have not slept yet, and then they go sleep. Yeah, and then they wake up at like 6. They wake up like 7 or 8. I mean, I really can't complain too much about people sleeping at like golden hour and then waking up at like 7 or 8, because at the end of the day, the amount of sleep time is probably the exact same as mine. Maybe mine's a bit worse, but I've adapted to it. 5, 6, 4. I used to run on 3 sometimes, but that was before any earth logs. Sometimes I'll do it. Sometimes I do 3, because at 3, if we ran at 3 hours, I would end up like sleeping in the chair or like getting knocked out in the afternoon. Yeah, I remember that now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, I remember. I actually got like no hours of sleep once, and then slept in the afternoon during the day. I remember that. I remember that very clearly. Barely slept at the night, and then did everything, and then fell asleep in like the afternoon or like in the morning. Yeah, that was not the most efficient route. The route we have right now is the most efficient, in my opinion. The routine we have right now is very, very efficient in my terms of context, obviously, because you guys don't know the full context, but I would, yeah, especially for the Earth vlogs. I actually haven't done like a hill driving in a while. I haven't actually been bothered doing a hill driving. I think, yeah, don't think we actually can do hill driving. Well, no, we can, but it's very annoying too, because when we drink water at the gym, we have to excrete. But if we're driving, it's like impossible. Plus, yeah, yo, someone did, oh, is it 60 kgs? The water's done. We literally just need to check the weight after after the carbs. Yeah, we used to do hill driving, but now with the Alpha 3 regime and the gym and the water, no, I could always just, yeah. We haven't done hill driving in a while. I actually am pretty good at hill driving. I've got old videos of myself doing it. Driving is definitely interesting. It's just, I don't know if it's impressive anymore, or perhaps the dopamine isn't as interesting as it used to be. The dopamine for hill driving definitely is gone. Perhaps it might be. I mean, I'm not allowed to die, obviously, but maybe I should do hill driving. But just what do I want to? If I do hill driving, I'll need to change the head cam. No, I think I remembered last time. Head cams don't work when hill driving because it's on your head, so it's not exactly the same vision as your eyesight, so it doesn't look the same. You're gonna have to like have it at your mouth. Yeah, so hill driving is that the question. Just can't really. I guess I just can't be bothered. Right, probably. I literally will have more dopamine playing Cooked Earth than hill driving. Matter of fact, I might even get more dopamine from fishing and hunting. Right, yeah, I forgot that we were doing a whole bunch of hunting and fishing, but I guess the weather's just been, eh, maybe the dopamine's not there either. I don't actually know. We kind of just do what we want. All I know is that the Cooked Earth series is definitely more, how would you say it? I feel like it might be a bit better. It reminds me of the old YouTuber days anyways. You know, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, the old kind of playthroughs. It reminds me of that. But this time I'm the creator for other people. So that's why it's to a degree quite nice. You know, not so many fancy edits to a degree, just kind of raw playthrough. Just, it's nice. The timestamps are just to help the people itself, you know, scrouge do it. whatever that means. When you go on the video playback, you can like scooge to it. Scouge. It's a term in editing. In editing, you scrouge through it, theater things. So yeah, the timestamps definitely help. Timestamps are the way to go for the series. You could like see what's up, and instead of me voiceovering and making it like 1 minute per hour, you guys can just scroll through the whole thing. Also, people also watch the playthroughs on the side of the monitors or just in the background, a background noise. I remember doing that once, like when I was renovating the studio once. I just played some either Markiplier or I'll admit I saw Queso's series. You just play in the background and just like pack your stuff or move furniture or like set up a desk. Don't know. There's no other topic. Seems like we always talk about. It seems like near the end of these we have the most to say. Perhaps it's because golden hours. Well, no, it's because most of the time the last exercises are the most calmest, which is obviously the glabs. The dip machine is always the last one, and the face ball is always the last one for shoulders, and then for the arm day, bicep, straight curl cables are also the last ones, and then for back day, usually shrugs are the last ones. So all the last activities are always the most bare minimum kind of. They're like it's chill. So that's mostly why. Yeah, we're gonna let you go away after this, and then that should be about it. Should be about it. There's nothing else to say. No topics, no nothing. Again, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to find a topic for me, considering that when you're a anomaly, you don't see it as black and white. You see it as grey. So honestly, when a topic appears, it's really, really not my style of just picking one side and going against the other side, because both sides are needed. So that's probably why having a conversation with me is going to be very difficult. It's very hard. It's very how to say it. If you're like black and white and you talk to me, I'm not gonna take your side, and I'm not gonna. Oh, probably I'll end up just defending whatever you're against, and just be like, well, that's just how it is. Having a conversation with me is, especially if you're like emotional about it. I don't, man, when people are emotional and talk to me about black and white, it's like, bro, you don't know how the world works, man. It's grey. You need both sides. You literally need both sides. You can't be saying stuff like that. No, you can't be getting emotional like that. It's grey and white, black and no, it's grey. It's just grey. There's no black and white. I mean, obviously you've got to look at each other's perspectives, you know. But yeah, what is it called? The devil's advocate? No, that's not what I meant. But it's like when someone's really really emotional about something, you kind of just on purposely go into the defend the other side just to like see what happens. I think that's what an old friend I knew used to do. Like any topic, he would just go against the other side just to debate with you. But for me, since I know it's grey, I'll just end up concluding the whole thing as it is what it is, and then just say that well, in that perspective or this perspective, you need both of them. So no matter how much of a black and white scenario you have, if you talk to me, it'll be grey, because at the end of the day, both sides are needed, regardless of how heinous each other's differences are. Except that's only when it comes to humans. If it comes to animals, I don't care. When it comes to any other species, then yes, my black and white is true to a degree, tribalism. Only when it comes to animals, and like I said before, aliens and animals are the same. Hmm. We did eat rice yesterday, so 69.85. So like what? It's around 300 grams extra, probably because of the rice. There's a very interesting smell in the bathroom. It smells. There's an interesting smell, but I can't describe it. No, there is an interesting smell somewhere, but it's not like shit. It's like pine. I don't know what pine is, but whatever. Alright, see you guys later. Maybe I should like edit cooked earth highlights at the end of the video too. Nah, nah. See you guys.
Potential idea: get a lab coat, right? Because I just found something online that we could do a whole entire series on. So this is just a little teaser, but I'm probably gonna buy this. Yeah, because I've got an idea. We'll see how it goes. Man, idol right here. Idol right here. We gotta get a lab coat now. I know what to do. Finally, I got the lab coat. But I'm kind of curious. I feel like Agent 47 got the white coat. I'm gonna scout the ecosystem. I want to scout the ecosystem real quick. It's all over there. I got a long way to walk. This is gonna be exciting. But here we go. We've infiltrated the space. It kind of feels like playing Agent 47 in a Hitman game. It's like I'm not even supposed to be here, but at the same time, who's gonna stop me? No one. All right, time to go exploring. How'd it look? Infiltrating it? Hell yeah, I'm gonna infiltrate this place. Hold on, I surely fit in. No way, I don't look suspicious. All right, we have successfully infiltrated the building. Now we're gonna go to 10th floor apparently, and apparently that's where the books are. We're gonna go have a little browse on the books. I'm just in a... All right, update on the situation. It seems like no one, I don't think anyone's alive. Dude, it's so quiet in there, no one's breathing. No one's breathing. It's so quiet in there, it's insane. Like, the entire floor is super quiet. No one's breathing. It's like a simulation. No one's here. You can't even hear anyone. Not a single person even speaks, or you can't even hear any breathe. Okay, an update. It is so boring in here. Man, I thought it was gonna be more interesting. This place says nothing for me. Turns out it's pretty boring. Nothing's there. I might just wear this for the fun of it, because it's kind of cool. I like it. All right, so observations for today. We need to probably go there another time when it's actually school. Because I was expecting a whole bunch of people there, but I guess it is school. I think it's still university holiday, right? Something like that. The lab coat works. But yeah, the place was just too silent. And that's pretty much it. Anyways, this lab coat was supposed to analyze... We're going to be analyzing Scum's wish. Something like that. Yep. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite late already, but we're going to be doing
one story today from, or maybe two, 4 disturbing true basement horror stories from Mr. Nightmare, the GOAT. We stopped watching the phone call one because I'm just gonna ignore that one. That one doesn't actually count. So let's begin this one, shall we? We're not gonna do the whole thing. Also, I've got a new series coming up, by the way. Very new series coming up. It's not gonna be an Earthlogs. It's gonna be independent, but we're gonna be analyzing a certain anime. I know it's cringe, but I watched like 5 episodes of this anime, and it's like probably one of the first animes that actually made me like made my framework think, because the ecosystem's so absurd that it's just we gotta investigate it together, right? We gotta investigate it together. But save that for later, alright? First of all, let's do one to two stories of these, right? Basement horror stories. Let's see how it goes. Alright, let's go. Story 1 from D. Martin.
This happened maybe 8 or 9 months after I moved into my first house. I was 24 at the time,
24.
fresh out of college with a decent job.
Fresh out of college. What is college university? Is college university? Search assist. Understanding college and university. College, typically smaller. University, usually larger. Limited, extensive. Okay, why don't we... I translate to New Zealand. School metrics. Let's have a look real quick. Yeah, agree. It's on Fox anyways. The definition college often refer... What? Year 9 to 13's college? It doesn't make sense, because how's this guy finished college with 24 years old? We're just gonna assume it's university, right?
All you need to know about the house is that it had a very spacious basement that I mostly used for storage.
Yep.
The previous owners had partitioned it into these separate rooms using plywood and exposed framing. There was the main area at the bottom of the stairs, then a laundry section, then what I think was supposed to be a workshop, and then this weird back room that was mostly just storage. It had kind of a maze-like quality to it. You couldn't see the entire basement from any single vantage point, which I remember thinking was kind of cool when I first toured the place. Anyway, it was a weeknight. I needed to go downstairs to do laundry, which was the only time I ever really went down there. The basement lights were already on, which I thought was weird, but I didn't dwell on it for whatever reason. I'd been down there a few days earlier, so I figured I just forgot to turn them off. The space was dim even with the lights. I hadn't bothered changing the old yellow incandescents that had been there when I moved in. I started walking down the stairs, and things escalated so abruptly that I couldn't react quick enough. I made it to the bottom of the stairs and started walking toward the laundry area when I saw movement in my peripheral vision.
What?
I turned my head instinctively and locked eyes with a man who was crouching behind one of the folding tables that I had set up near the far corner. It was so unsettling that I almost dropped the basket. My brain refused to register what I was seeing. There was literally a stranger hiding in my basement.
How is that even possible?
I couldn't move. All I could do was stare at this intruder who was now staring back at me, and it was not a pleasant stare. He looked like he had just crawled out of a sewer or something. And then he stood up and ran. Not at me though, further into the basement toward the partitioned rooms in the back. That snapped me out of my fear-induced haze, and I started moving backwards toward the basement stairs.
Yeah.
But I must have wasted too much time, because before I could reach the stairs, all the lights in the basement went out.
What?
Until that moment, I had never been down there with the lights off. I hadn't anticipated how dark it would be. It was fully pitch black down there, complete and utter darkness. I mistakenly assumed I knew my own house, so I kept moving toward the stairs, but I must have misjudged something, because I tripped and fell to the floor. By the time I got up, I was completely disoriented. The chaos and fear of the situation was overwhelming my brain, and I couldn't think. My phone was sitting on the counter upstairs, so it's not like I could just reach in my pocket and turn on the flashlight. I started screaming like a lunatic, thinking that might scare off
Based?
whoever had broken into my house.
Based?
But actually, that strategy must have energized them,
What?
because I started hearing screaming coming from the other side of the basement.
GG. Oh, it's over. I mean, that's a good strategy though. I'm not gonna lie. Screaming like a lunatic. That is a decent strategy, but unfortunately, you just got unlucky and you got a crazy guy as well, so it's over.
It was terrifying. I was screaming into the darkness, trying to seem like I was crazy, and
Based?
someone on the other side of the room was
What's
doing
crazier?
the same exact thing, and his screaming was much more intimidating than mine. He legitimately sounded like a murderer. I stopped screaming, and he followed suit. I started navigating around the basement purely by touch. I had no other choice, and I started hearing movement behind me.
GG.
He must have been doing the same. The sounds were getting closer, and amidst the horror of everything, I couldn't help but get the sense that he knew my own basement better than I did.
How did he get in? Let me guess. Is he probably the story writer's probably tripping? He probably tripping. There's no guy. His own screaming is his. When he screams and the guy screams, he's actually listening to himself, echoing. The story writer's losing his mind. There's no guy there. That's what I'm gonna assume.
I knew I was getting closer to the stairs, but that basement is massive. I started hearing breathing coming from somewhere behind me, and I genuinely thought he was going to catch me. After what felt like an eternity, I felt the wooden base of the staircase. I grabbed the railing and started running up the stairs, but before I could even hit the second step, something grabbed my ankle and I lost my grip.
Oh, GG.
My head struck the railing and I fell all the way down to the basement floor. I still couldn't see the guy, but he was dragging me away from the stairs with what genuinely felt like inhuman strength. I kicked
More likely you tripped on the stairs, and there's no one there.
and thrashed my legs with all my might and miraculously connected with something. The strike was just strong enough for him to lose his grip, and I twisted and twisted until I escaped his grasp. I started running back towards the stairs in the dark, and he started screaming again, but I found them before he could catch me. I made it to the top in the dark, burst through the door, and slammed it shut behind me. The nightmare was far from over, though. That door doesn't have a lock, so I had no choice but to press my weight against it and hope I was strong enough to keep him out. Just as I suspected, I heard footsteps pounding up the basement stairs mere seconds later, followed by a huge crash against the door. The door swung open for a terrifying second, and it took everything in my power to push it closed. The first impact must have emboldened him, because he started repeatedly slamming into the door. I yanked off my socks and pushed against the door, knowing my life depended on it. I have no idea how he did make it through, but he eventually gave up. I heard footsteps crashing back down the basement stairs, and I immediately seized the opportunity to grab my phone. I ran over to the counter, grabbed it, and ran back to the basement door. With my back pressed against the door again, I called the police. When they finally arrived, that guy was gone. I kind of had a feeling. One of the basement windows had been forced open from the outside, and it didn't take a genius to figure out what happened. There was nothing missing or stolen, so one of the officers suggested that the intruder was probably using my basement as a place to live or hide. That hadn't crossed my mind, but it was somehow a worse thought than him simply wanting to rob.
Basement is a window? I was under the assumption that the only way in was a door. Basement window, huh? Security camera, I guess, next time. Yeah. Well, now with that logic, it's yeah. I mean, you can't really do too much in this situation. It's kind of like it is what it is, right? It's just the guy in your basement. It is what it is. Same thing can happen to you right now. You know, you could just walk into your house and there's just a person in your living room. It is what it is. Like that just happens sometimes. I'm sure maybe basements might have a slightly higher chance, but it really just depends on your security, of course, you know. Learn every single entryway to your building. And yeah, it is what it is. can't really do much besides just increase your security again.
Robbed the place. The other reason the police arrived at that theory was that the intruder somehow knew where the light switch was, which wasn't in the most obvious place. It made sense. I ended up moving out about 4 months after the incident. Thinking about this again has confirmed something for me. That guy was fully prepared to kill me that night, and if things had played out differently, he just might have.
Probably. We'll do another story. That was quite short. All good.
This happened when I was 14.
14.
I'm in my 30s now, so we're talking
That's
close to
irrelevant.
20 years ago at this point. My parents had to drive out of state for a wedding and didn't want to leave me alone, despite the fact that I was staying at home alone age. So the
Okay.
original plan was for my older sister to stay with me for the weekend. She was already in college at the time, but she only lived an hour away. As soon as my parents left, though, she texted me and told me she had some party to go to and wasn't going to
sister.
come. I didn't really care. I didn't even bother telling my parents about it.
It really depends. 14 years old, I think that's legal age, but I think that actually is. What's the legal age to live, to be alone at home in NZ / or USA? 14 years old. Okay, verified. Your goods.
Partly because I didn't want to stress them out, and partly because I didn't want them to find someone else to watch me. It wasn't like the house was in some sketchy area either. It was a typical 2-story home in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The place mostly consisted of families too, so I knew I'd be fine. The evening was completely uneventful. I played Halo for like 6 hours.
Okay, so this is a 14-year-old dude. Or 14-year-old kid. Male. Okay, well, he should be all goods then. 14-year-old's male. Simple. 6 hours on Halo? Okay.
Something I'd ordinarily never get to do. It wasn't until just after midnight where things started getting weird. I was still lounging on the couch when I heard this faint tapping sound. The sound came from somewhere in the backyard, and I immediately assumed it was something hitting the siding of the house.
Let me guess, those houses that have like an entire open backyard.
That's honestly what it sounded like, so I wasn't too concerned. A few minutes later, though, I heard it again. The sound was nearly identical, which gave me the impression that it was a tree branch hitting the same spot on the house. But then the tapping migrated, like whatever was making it was moving along the side of the house. That's when I knew something was wrong. The sound was far too intentional to not be made by something sentient. I muted the TV and froze. I didn't want to move. I just sat there listening the way anyone would, but now there was just silence. After maybe a minute, I convinced myself that it had just been a scuttling animal or the wind, and I turned the TV back on. 20 minutes later, there was a new noise, one that made me a lot more concerned. It was another tapping sound. But this time, it sounded like it was coming from below me, from the basement. The living room was directly above the basement, so it had to be coming from there. It was an unfinished basement with a little kitchenette in the corner, so it wasn't crazy to imagine a critter rummaging around in there. I muted the TV again, this time getting up off the couch. I was dreading it, but I had to check. I had to at least assure myself that nothing was wrong. The basement had several windows that led directly to the outdoors.
Ooh, 7 windows? Oh, nah, someone's in there.
So in all likelihood, the raccoon or stray cat that had been making the first noise was now knocking against one of those windows for whatever reason. I tried to convince myself I wasn't freaking out and walked over to the basement door. I opened it and stood at the top of the stairs, looking down into the darkness. The tapping noise was louder now, happening every few seconds or so. I don't know why I did this, but I called out hello into the nothingness. The tapping stopped immediately. That's when I started feeling really uneasy, because if it had just been an animal, it probably wouldn't have reacted to my voice like that. If I could just turn on the lights, I'd get a much clearer view of everything. But the light switch was at the bottom of the stairs, and there was a 0%
RIP.
chance I was going down there. So instead, I swung the door closed until it was only open a crack, and stuck my hand through. I pointed my phone over to where I knew the window was. Then I closed my eyes and recorded a video with the flash on for a few seconds. Then I immediately shut the door and locked it.
Okay, lock. Nice.
I took a deep breath and pulled up the video. It was pretty grainy, but it took me all of 1 second to realize there was a figure standing underneath one of the windows, on the inside of the house. I
GG.
screamed, I couldn't control myself, and I ran to my room. I locked the door and immediately called my dad, who called the police for me. I was still on the phone with my parents when I started hearing repeated banging on the basement door. That guy was trying to break into the finished part of our house. And then, after the 5th or 6th bang or so, there was silence again, and then the police showed up. They searched the basement, but that guy had escaped through the window. The officers were actually nice enough to search our yard, but that guy was long gone. There was a bunch of stuff missing from the basement. Like I said before, it wasn't finished, but that didn't mean my parents left it empty. I can't remember everything that had been stolen, but the scariest thing by far was this. When the police inspected the kitchenette, they found the biggest knife in the rack missing. It was a terrifying thought. If it weren't for the video on my phone, I don't think the police would have taken things as seriously as they did. But of course, nothing ever came of it, and this was almost 20 years ago now. I have no idea.
Damn. What does a basement window look like anyways? What does a basement window look like? Hmm. Basement windows just look like that, I guess. So people can crawl through. Yep. No one checks the basement, really. I wouldn't really know because I don't really have a basement. Hmm. I guess. I mean, it's no different to having like a glass for your, backyard porch. It's not really much of a difference. It's just slightly smaller and won't make as much of a sound. Again, security cameras, a compound fence, I guess. But besides that, though, it is what it is, right? Security cameras probably your way to go. The windows, yeah. Basement windows. But at the same time, I swear it's the same risk going into a basement. Like if you're the other POV. If you're the other POV and you're going towards the basement, I swear that's more riskier because imagine you broke into a basement, right? You went inside and then I feel like you're gonna get trapped easier. Like imagine you go into a basement of like a psychopath, right? And he's got like cameras this time. So the moment you go inside the window, the door's locked, and then he just goes outside and blocks the window. What can you do in that situation? You're gone. You're dead. You know what I mean? Like I swear it's more riskier for you to go inside the basement as the criminal rather than, I mean, of course, like I'm just saying, because like you just put yourself in you put yourself in such a spot where there's literally no escape besides the door and the window. And like, yeah, like what I can say is like the homeowner can easily camp you because you're in the basement, so you can reverse the roles and camp them. There's only one way to get out, the basement door, and if the basement door is really strong, then the only way out is the window. Righty ho, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for today's story. We've got this interesting anime to watch soon. I'm going to be wearing a trench coat. No, I'm going to be wearing a lab coat. And I'm also going to be using a whiteboard. And we're going to analyze each character and then try see what kind of data I can collect from this anime. Because it's one of the first animes I've watched where it's like not my ecosystem. Like completely off my ecosystem. One that I probably should avoid, but at the same time, it's interesting to learn other ecosystems, considering that we are an anomaly. Yeah? Alright. Alright, appreciate it. Probably gonna go straight to Cooked Earth if the time is right. Dude, we're not gonna have enough time for Cooked Earth. I did things late. Maybe we might honestly just start the anime thing. Yeah? Maybe? I'll see about it. I don't think we can do Cooked Earth. There's no way we have enough time. Nope. No way. We need at least 2 hours per episode. Alright. See you guys next time.